ever worried that you might be the cool kid? You wear the latest fashions on top of all the trends. Or have you ever worried you were too much in the mainstream? Always so generic, more normal than your friends. Well, we've devised a test to put to rest your fears. There's no need to panic if you lend us your ears. Tonight you can't sleep easy after all that you've heard. Cause if you like the show, then you're probably a nerd. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all. Tyler, Phil, and Boris. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all in Canon.
It's Monday. You know what that means? It's time for a new episode of the Its Canon Podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things geek, the podcast where we talk about all things pop culture, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything because, as it says in the title of the show itself, it's all in canon. We're your hosts. I'm Boris. And this week, somehow barely made it, I'm joined by Phil.
Hello, Internet world.
And Tyler.
Coming to you from the edge of the world.
See, this is the time of the episode where, typically speaking, I would talk about what we're going to talk about. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not happening this week. That's not happening again this week.
Oh, no.
The reason is because I just like last week, Boris is starting with a fucking rant.
Oh, boy.
Today, I think I've had internet for maybe 3 hours. And when I say this day, I talk about like since midnight. I've literally maybe had internet for 3 hours total. Internet, phone, and television.
I feel bad for you. Yeah.
Yep. Fucking annoying. So annoying. I don't
know how carriers get away with outages like this at this time of year with people working from home.
Let's just remove the fact that everyone is going back to remote work here in Ontario because Omicron is just running wild like Hulkamania. Like, it's just absolutely insane right now. Let's remove that fact. Let's just talk about the fact that we are in 2021. This isn't 1996 or 2000 when cable DSL internet was new. Like, come on. You know, we're paying insane prices for internet here in Canada. We're paying insane prices for infrastructure. We're paying insane prices for tech in general. I just want shit to work. And I'm off. I don't need to do anything right now. You know what I was doing today? Preparing for the radio show. Calling into meetings. Doing that for the radio show that's coming up. That's what I've been doing. But I can't even prep for my podcast, which literally consists of me scouring the internet for shit I want to talk to you guys about.
I mean, we have the worst internet of any OECD country.
I know. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm stone cold sober. But you know when I won't be stone cold sober? That is on our Christmas special. Because our Christmas special is coming later on this week. And I think we were just talking earlier that it's going to be a very interesting and fun recording. Just to put it all on the table, it is Monday evening right now. We're going to be recording the Christmas special on Tuesday, so in about 24 hours, the three of us will gather again, chat, Labyrinth, Gremlins, and Pig. Now,
one of these things is not like the other.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Tyler.
One of these things just doesn't belong.
The funniest part is that you'd think that Tyler's movie and Pig would be the one that I maybe least enjoyed. And nope. I really enjoyed it.
It was your own. It was Labyrinth. You hated Labyrinth the most.
Well, Labyrinth always gets me a little bit weird. But Gremlins definitely put me in a weird spot. Oh my god. We'll talk about it.
I have pages upon pages of notes.
I love it. I fucking love it. I can't wait for that.
It took me 2 weeks to watch Gremlins. 2 freaking weeks.
It's actually very funny because I prepared notes for this episode and tomorrow, and for the Christmas special, I want to say like 9-10 pages of notes, and for this episode, I think I have 2 sentences.
I love it. All right, so that is tomorrow. We're gonna leave it there. We're gonna leave it with a little bit of suspense because that's what we do. We try to hook you.
That was an amuse-bouche.
Yeah, and Jesus.
Oh, phenomenal use. Oh, well
that was
done,
good.
Phil.
That was chef's
Bravo.
kiss. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. All right, now
Phil was inspired by Pig.
let me
Exactly. It's yet but a truffle.
let me now to the second subject, which I almost said right before we started recording, and you guys kind of guessed where I was going to go with this. Guys, I really don't understand I don't understand our audience. I do not. Number one, Tyler, don't call our audience fuckers.
Why? That's what they want.
Let's start there.
They're filthy and wanted.
So,
number two, as I was scouring the news when the internet did come back up about 20, 30 minutes ago now, whenever that was, all I could see was Bungie HR boss steps down. We have Ubisoft issues. And I'm like, okay, we really cannot turn into the labor unrest podcast.
Wait, why?
Oh, we can. We 1000% can. I'm just saying. It's like, for me, it's kind of funny that like how big this is getting. And I'm not trying to make a joke about this. I'm just saying, like, holy crap, it's taken all this time. And now people are starting to jump on board, right? Like, it is crazy. And we're not just in the tech industry. The tech industry amazes me just because these are people making 6 figures plus most of the time, right? And they're still getting pissed off. So it just goes to show you that money isn't everything right now. And the money that they're getting isn't the money technically that, they're still getting underpaid.
I mean, there's 2 parts to that.
Yes.
A lot of people in video games aren't getting 6 figures.
No,
right?
not video games.
And even in tech, there's a lot of people who are making high 5 rather than 6, right? And the other side of it is the bigger issue is, and always has been, work-life balance. And there's this weird belief that you can just work people harder.
Well, crunch. I was thinking about this after I've seen some of the Bungie stuff. And I know that they cite crunch, and it, again, the basically the push to get the project done, the game done.
Yeah.
But I see it paralleling into IT all the time, just on project work. Like, I don't know how many times management comes to me and goes, you thought you were going to go home this weekend? Or, you thought this was going to happen? No, our deadline is X, and we need this much done. And say goodbye to sleep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your eyeballs are going to bleed.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And that's it. And it's accepted. And then they want us to hide it. Then they go, when you do your timesheet, only do 40 hours and all this. Like,
like a crime.
Yep. That's exactly what's going on. No, that's exactly it, right? Like, this is happening not just in, like, it's happening everywhere. Like, IT is probably one of the worst offenders for this, right? Like, it's really bad. It's really, really, really bad.
Yep.
But
I know, and I've had friends who have done career changes, and they've come to me and they've gone, you know what, you seem to be doing really well in IT and all that. And I'm like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't
stay away from IT.
Do it. Like,
listen, kids,
your family's gonna hate you. Your managers, you're lucky if you get a half decent person, let alone a half decent manager. Like it's just the industry is gross. you know, I want to avoid using the word toxic because it just seems to be the word du jour, but it's really got this underbelly that's been seething for a long time.
Yeah, it for sure.
And it's good to see video game companies, you know, maybe breaking that mold and offering some public guidance. Like I know that there was a video game company this week that went union. I forget which one. It was one of the smaller ones. It was one of the smaller dev houses. And then there was all this stuff with Bungie and all the stuff with Activision Blizzard. And,
Yeah.
well, you know, Ubisoft stuff to me is just they've made a decision about the type of product that they want to do. And
So, you know, one thing
don't want to do it.
Can you elaborate on this Ubisoft? Like we've referenced it a couple times, Phil. Can you elaborate on what we're referring to?
Well, there's the decision to put in NFTs into the games, which is controversial and early days, but I get that there's an argument that somebody's got to do it. So we're going to try, but they've decided, I guess about a year ago or half a year ago. I don't know exactly when. I didn't have any notes prepped on this.
Yeah.
But I just know that Ubisoft came out and made an announcement that they're no longer doing the AAA type of games.
Yeah.
They're no longer going to sit there and plow away at an Assassin's Creed X. They're going to make everything either free to play or low entry point, iterate the crap out of it. They want to go after the GTA 5 model. They want to go after the Fortnite model, where they just iterate the crap out of a game, season it out, and try to get you to buy seasons passes and whatnot. And their developers are saying, no, we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And they've also got a really, you know, for lack of a better word, they've got a history of not having the most, you know, nice workplaces, or, you know, a lot of sexual harassment and allegations and whatnot. So
what I just like,
people are leaving the company. I
understand the want from the powers that be for continuous gaming and cyclical gaming, right? I get it. It's an easy way to get your MRR up, your monthly recurring revenue, right? It's a good way to make that prediction. What the MRR, like I just said, is your monthly recurring revenue, which is essentially how much money you're bringing in each and every month through subscriptions, through whatever, right? So if you have a cyclical game like a Fortnite, like an Apex Legends, it's in subscription base. It's very easy or easier to predict how much money is coming in, and you're just continuously developing. In the grand scheme of things, it could end up being cheaper, and you could be bringing in a shit ton more money. So that's why that is, you know, a huge interest to a lot of companies, right? But you know, you're essentially removing what made video games for the longest time, and that's what's really that's one of the areas, you know, I've seen some editorials of actual developers themselves and designers saying, well, I did this to create like the next, you know, I'm just gonna say like a Metal Gear game or whatever, right? This continuous model, it's for very specific type of games. And, you know, I'm not saying that you get to choose where you work. You don't get to really choose your projects, but it just kind of sucks you dry. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, let's be honest, oftentimes these games are made for you, you know, to like, you don't even realize how much money you're spending, right? So it's kind of like there's that
Skinner boxes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
They're entirely designed to be psychological traps that are really just like they are very hostilely designed to ensure that they extract the most money from you as possible, right? Which you compare it to a so-called classic gaming experience, and I'm talking like even pre-WoW, like pre-MMOs, of you paid once and you're done.
Yeah.
And you got your thing. And, you know, we have all sorts of different ways for it. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of different business models as we go, but the other side of the coin for this games as a service MMR focused model is you are so much more subject to regulation, as I think we're going to start to see pretty soon.
That's exactly that's exactly it right there, Tyler.
Getting prepped to crack down on a lot of this being gambling. Because it is
gambling. It is gambling. Like, you can't say, like, it's like it goes back to the EA loot box, right? Like, it goes back to that. Like, it is gambling. I don't care what anyone says. This is gambling. It is legalized gambling, and the companies like EA know exactly what they're doing. Don't let them play dumb. They know exactly what they're doing.
Well, the number of companies that have reports from consultants specializing in psychological behaviors and manipulation.
Yeah.
Like, no shit. Casinos have been doing this for 50 years.
Yep.
Why? Why would video game companies not if we let them?
Exactly. I think that's go ahead, Phil.
That's the thing, right? Like for me as a customer and a guy who would sit there and pine over, a lot of the time games that I wouldn't even complete. So here's the newest Assassin's Creed. Okay, everybody's playing it. I'm going to play 20 to 30 hours of it. Then I'm going to peter out.
Yeah.
Or all my friends used to play all the Far Cry games. You know what we don't talk about right now? Far Cry 6.
Yep.
You know what no one's playing right now? Far Cry anything.
Yep.
Yeah, like in my spheres, everybody's basically walked away from Ubisoft as a company, as a consumer, like as the buyer. Because I'm like, you know what? I bought Valhalla. Great game. Had a lot of fun with it on Stadia and on my PS5. I bought it twice. But if they're going to come forward with pish like Ghost Recon and stuff, that's free to play and garbage and sitting there derivative and just trying to get me to buy NFTs, I'm never touching their product again. Like, if that's your mantra as a company and you're not even going to try to bring out the one thing and maybe diversify into other stuff, like, I'm done. Like, I'll go spend my money elsewhere.
So I want to jump in real quick, Boris, because I have a good point on that. And I get the feeling you're gonna shift us a little bit. It's actually fascinating because Assassin's Creed Valhalla is the second most profitable game Ubisoft has ever had. And it alone pulled up all other Assassin's Creed title sales. Like, it rejuvenated the whole line. It was so good. As of recording, Ubisoft launched its NFT model 2 weeks ago. Did either of you see what the total sales to date was for that?
I
didn't look, but it.
Do you want the number of sales or the dollar value first?
Let's go with number. Let's go with number. So
15.
This is okay. So that's 15 transactions have been made under this model, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, dollar value. This is going to piss me off, isn't it?
$400.
Oof.
And they're still doubling down. Like, this is my larger issue with more and more companies going this model of like, you're gonna do seasons. This whole thing is, as Boris said, not every game works for that.
Yeah, no.
But now you're all competing for the same slice of the pie.
Yep.
This is just like when everyone was trying to make a WoW killer and no one did it.
Yeah, no one was able to, and no one even came close, to be honest. What gets to me right now is the whole NFT thing, right? Like, for me, it's still a fad, and it's going to stay a fad. I don't know what you guys think about it. You guys can kind of chime in when you, when you guys speak next. But, like, I personally think that right now, this whole NFT thing is a complete fad. Within 5 years, your NFTs are going to be worthless. It's not even going to be worth the storage in the Ethernet that that it's stored in this cloud space, whatever. It's not
stored in the cloud space. That's the worst part.
I know that's why I was looking for the word in my head. It's like, even when I said that, I'm like, no, it's not even. It's like, it's
you have the sign that points to a web address that someone else controls.
Yeah, it's a pointer. You literally have a pointer. You literally have a redirect.
So stupid.
You buy a redirect.
Yeah.
Well, that's my big issue with it as well, in the sense that what Ubisoft are proposing is, let's say they create these NFTs or whatever, and you're playing Ghost Recon, and you get this really kick-ass gas mask. I don't know, like with skulls on it, and it's a cool bit of kit for your character. There's no commitment from Ubisoft that that's going to be able to be transferable into the next iteration of the game, or that it will be transferable across their games, or that, you know what I mean? Even though they're supposedly shared platforms and all this other great stuff, the potential's there for it. That would maybe be the only thing that would compel me to enter into that space, would be to have a guarantee that the skins transport and to have a section of games that I'm actually going to play.
Right.
But why would they do that?
Any of it, I'm not going to do any of it.
Why? What's the incentive for them to set this infrastructure up like that, Phil?
Well, I would assume that the incentive would be to keep the customer and
Loyal
keep the customer
customers.
happy and keep their money going.
Yeah, but
keep their money feeding you on your monthly. But I don't see that will pay off. Like I see them going, there's way more money in screwing them over, letting them get butt hurt, and buying it again.
And you guys can stop me mid-sentence if you don't agree with me. But I think history has proven that gamers are suckers. History has proven that you can absolutely take advantage of a gamer. They're going to be pissed off for a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe maximum, but they're going to eventually get over it, for lack of a better term, and they're going to get back to you. Gamers are gullible for the most part. Anyone who works with tech seems to be, or not works with, but who follows tech seems to be very gullible. Like, it's very hard for a brand to lose a loyal customer for good.
I'm not going to disagree with that because Skyrim, but it's, let's make the same game for 10 years.
I'm not saying boldly this is the case, right? I'm generalizing for the most part.
Generalizing, like in this case, we'll take Ubisoft, for example, and plug in your point, which I think is valid. Well, okay, they sit there and they see all their numbers drop. They see their employee morale crater. They go through all these radical changes only to turn around and say, okay, in 3 years, we're bringing back Assassin's Creed, and it will be a AAA title, and yada, 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 and we're going to market the crap out of it. Then you're going to see everybody flock back to Ubisoft, right? Nobody's going to sit there and go, oh, you really bummed me out, and you really you put me over the barrel with NFTs. I agree with that. Gamers do it all the time. Yeah, you're right. Like, they sell you nostalgia back when stuff, they're doing it right now. Let's redo Splinter Cell. They announced this week that they're just basically redoing the game, Splinter Cell, the original,
right,
in new updated graphics. And yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they're just trying to get you back into their game.
The whole remake.
And then start messing around.
The whole remake model that's happening right now with all systems, all publishers, I should say, right now, just goes to show you, there's something to be said about playing a game that you played years ago as a kid or as a teen or in university. Now with updated graphics and everything, there's something to be said about that nostalgia hit. But they're screwing you over at the end of the day, right? Like, they're most of the time they charge premium price for these games. And if anything, Grand Theft Auto has showed us that this can go really, really bad. Flip side, Nintendo has showed us how well they can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, anything to say?
I'm actually trying to pull up a piece of data.
All right.
To make a point. All right. And I couldn't find up-to-date data. I know that as of 2017,
don't die.
Fallout 4 sold better than Skyrim. Fallout 4 in its first year sold better than Skyrim up to that time. I don't know if that's continued or not, but I mean, really, it's just a matter of how cheap is Skyrim to remake.
Right.
I think that's the long and the short of it, right? Is it's the cost of remaking these games versus what it makes for them.
Right.
I mean, the entire subsystem of ongoing games like GTA 5, I don't, and I've looked into it. I don't fully understand how GTA 5 keeps making money.
Yeah.
I personally don't understand.
Like intellectually I do, but I don't know who makes that choice, right? Like, it's
completely all the shark bucks, right? Like,
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't know who makes that choice. I don't know who does that.
What do you mean, as a customer or as a company?
Yeah. As a customer? I don't know. 100%.
I'll tell you right now, okay? Here's the environment that I'm in. Like, right now, a friend of mine, my buddy and myself, we play Forza Horizon 5, like, every week I will grind the crap out of that game for money in game and everything like that. There's no external augment. There's no external buy-in with that game. So I love it for that. But previous to that, we used to play the crap out of GTA 5 and we were very invested in it. And you know what? There were times when I'd look at what that guy had and the amount of time that he put in. I didn't want to put in the time, but I'd take, they put Shark Bucks on special sale or whatever. And I go, yeah, I really want to have this perk in the game. I'm going to buy the Shark Bucks because I'm getting like a perceived deal on it.
Right.
But it was a waste of money. Like, I regret it every day of my life. I feel dirty because of it. And I'm thinking, how many kids are doing it and not even knowing what to regret it? But
you see, Phil, like, you hit the nail on the head there. And this is the point that I was trying to make, right? And I'm glad that you said it. It's the kids. It's the kids. That's where they get. That's the audience that they're trying to pardon my French, fuck over. It's the kids who they're trying to take advantage of. It's the kids who they know that will just willy nilly keep spending money, hitting buy, right? It's the kids who will go to their parents. Let's assume that they go to their parents, right? And they talk to their parents. Like on Thursday when I went to go watch Spider-Man, I was having this conversation with the person I went with, and he was telling me about like how his kids just like basically go up to him and ask him to buy some whatever dollar thing they use in Fortnite, right? Like, that's where they get you. It's not us, really. It's more the kids, more than anything else.
I understand for Fortnite.
Now, having said that, I don't understand who's doing this in GTA 5.
That's what I was saying.
That. Yeah,
I will.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like, I understand the Fortnite person, and in part, it's because Fortnite is so. The design of Fortnite is so hostile, right? Like, it's a game about, like, you don't even get to choose what your character looks like if you don't pay.
Yeah,
that is so insidious.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I agree.
Sure.
I will agree with you guys about the whole GTA thing. Like, I know that grumpy old man Phil. Yeah, sure, I might have dropped $10 or $20 over the years, and same with the Division. In fact, I've dropped on skin packs or mod packs or whatever. But I'm usually angling on a deal. But I don't understand how it's a complete revenue source for these games.
Let me tell you, man, when League of Legends came out, I was dropping hundreds of dollars with Mike. We were dropping a shit ton of money going to 7-Elevens or corner stores and buying those cards to upgrade and get further, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, hell, how long did I play WoW for? I know the traps.
Exactly, right?
Hell, we paid to play Star Wars.
For a month. For a month or two.
Yeah.
We're talking literally like 10 years ago to this week when we were like hardcore Red Bulling playing that game. Me, you, and Mike would sometimes, fuck. Dude, it feels like a lifetime ago now. The funny thing is,
I never got my land speeder.
But yeah, so
I remember we're like, that's gonna take 2 years to save up to buy that.
Yep. Man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like the whole video game industry. Like, realistically, guys, 10 years ago, did you ever imagine that the video game industry as a consumer would be the way that it is today? By that, I mean having these cyclical seasonal games, having continuous dev games, having free to play, but, pay to win. I think we saw that one coming. The quality issues that we're constantly seeing in video games, cyberpunk, the video game industry is, if you really take a look at it, take a step back and take a look at it for what it is, it's a fucking mess, isn't it?
It's been broken for a long time.
But it's like really, really bad right now. But not bad as a whole. Like there's certain things that are like really, I think are smellier than others. I don't know how to properly say it.
Look. This is the way I feel about it. It's I always identified with the stories that I've seen in the media about consumers feeling that a product was misrepresented, right?
I
like
mean,
they advertise the crap out of it. It's just like a movie trailer. They make you believe it's one thing, you get it, and it's a crapshoot, man. It might be the best $70 you ever spent. It might be the worst.
yeah, I mean, I think there is some limit on what you should be allowed to advertise versus put out. That's 100% a point that I'm with you on. Back to War to the point, I mean, we got to remember that 2011 was the year Dragon Age 2 came out, and that was honestly that, and that was the same year that Star Wars came out, and it was the same year that what was the other, like, there was another broken game in 2011. Point being, like, it was 100% like a prescient foresight. Dragon Age 2 was full of reused assets. It ran like crap. Yeah. And like they announced DLC day one. It was paid DLC right out the gate.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And paid DLC, like that was Dragon Age 1 had that with the Golem.
Yep, I remember that.
That was
Dragon Age 1
games,
had
right?
a character in your camp who was like, "Oh, come please help me." And you're like, "Yeah, of course, I'm an adventurer." And they're like, "Yeah, that'll be $14.99, motherfucker."
Yep. Remember, all the rage was buying a season's pass. They'd take the 3 expansions and they go, "Well, you can buy these expansions at $20 each, or you can give us, we'll knock $10 off and just give us this lump sum, and you're going to get those expansions."
Yeah, they still do that, but it's
it's not as prevalent anymore, but it is. It does exist in certain games. Yeah,
it's not so obvious like it used to be.
Like hell. Like right now, I guess I was looking on Twitter in the same vein as what we're talking about, and that was that Forza Horizon 5 won IGN's Game of the Year.
Yeah, I saw.
And everybody who was trolling them, like, how could you do this to an iterative game? Like, how could you give Game of the Year to Forza 5 when Forza 5 is basically just prettier graphics than Forza 4?
But they've said shit like that all the time.
I know.
How could you say that about MMO? How could you say that about...
Exactly. And that's what I thought of, too, because I'm like, I love Forza Horizon 5, so I was thrilled that they got chosen Game of the Year, because you don't see an open world racing game get that much recognition. Yeah, it's iterative, but so's everything else.
Right.
Like, that's the game industry.
But
what are we going to
exactly
do? Game of the Year is the newest version of Skyrim? Oh, shit. I bought that like 5 years ago.
Right.
Like, where's the new stuff? Like, it should be going to games like Returnal. It should be going to like proper IP that's new and fresh and has a future in front of it.
Right? Hades, which one?
Kona?
Yes.
Or Kenna?
Yes. Hades. That's
Hades.
A huge deal, Tyler. That's a huge deal.
First ever video game to win a Hugo.
Yep. That is huge. Like, absolutely amazing. Kudos to that team. Yep. And it's a wonderful game, to be honest.
And It Takes Two. Like, there's a lot of good stuff happening in the industry that just doesn't seem to get
the issue, guys, Tyler and Phil, is that I think, Phil, you were starting to get to this point, and that's where the attention, where the marketing dollars are being put, right? It's being put on the Fortnite, it's being put on the Forzas, it's being put on the Apex Legends, on the League of Legends, on the whatever it is, right? Whatever cyclical game of the month it is, right? That's where the marketing dollars are going. Look at Riot Games and their insane expansion since they got like the huge investment, right? It's the unfortunate part is that it is taking away attention from the games that actually deserve it. Like your Returnals, like your Resident Evils. Like this is the first time we even mentioned Resident Evil on this episode, right? Like this is the point right now. Like the video game industry right now is in such a weird place where these one-off amazing games are just completely being ignored by these weird, the cash cows, the golden goose.
Wow. That can go towards the whole idea that their articles are cooked, which we've talked about in a roundabout way. But secondly, I won't even touch that. I'm just gonna say it. But I won't dig into it because that's a whole topic. But you just look at the state of video game industry. You can't buy a PS5 still. I'm so thankful to Andrew and yourself, Boris and Tyler, for working so hard to get me a PS5. Who would have thought a year later you can't buy one?
Yep.
You can't buy an Xbox.
Yep.
Like,
Or you can't buy a new video card.
yeah, you can't buy a new video card. Like,
You
gaming
can't.
is stuck.
You can't buy an old video card.
But you want to know why people aren't talking about Returnal? Because people don't have PS5s.
That's a big part of it.
Honestly, that's going to be like the game that you get the console a year from now when you can maybe see it on the shelf. And you're going to be like, I'm going to get this classic game. Returnal kicks ass. Finally, been waiting 3 years to play it.
That's a fantastic point that it didn't even cross my mind until you just brought it up again. And you know what? I'm privileged in the sense that I got the PS5 day zero, right? Like, I was lucky enough. So
you guys put down payments in.
well, Tyler did, and then he went through his little fiasco, but we got it day one, right? And I kind of forget that that's a huge factor when we talk about these one-off games, right? Like the Returnals, like the Resident Evils and whatnot. Like, that's a huge factor. And as these one-off games are being released just for the one system, not this multi-platform release, like multi-generational, not platform, multi-generational, so just PS5 exclusives as opposed to PS5 and PS4, you're going to start seeing this issue more and more, aren't you?
Yeah, like I think that it's redone the entire industry right now. Product availability has basically forced a lot of companies to delay games so that they can do a multi-platform. So that they can say, yep, it's on PS4 as well as PS5. Or even look at Xbox's strategy of putting everything in the cloud.
Well, here's the thing,
I've got
though,
a friend who went out and bought.
The thing with that, though,
My
right
friend
now,
bought an old Xbox, but he can play everything new.
Okay, but here's the thing, Phil. Like, think about it this way. Right now, Xbox has the clear advantage because of that strategy. Because you're able to play on the cloud. Because they have Xbox Series X's set up on the cloud for you. But
I actually want to. Oh.
But I'll just finish this one point, as Tyler always brings up, the internet.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I was actually going to say, I don't think we would notice if it wasn't for COVID. Because I've pulled up the numbers. And so PS5 has sold 13.4 million units.
Yep.
In the first year and a half of the Xbox One, they sold 10. In the first year of the PS4, they sold 11.
Yeah.
Like, despite shortages, it's outselling previous consoles.
It's outselling them, but who is it getting
But
to?
it's sitting in scalpers' garages and living rooms while they charge $1,000 on eBay to get them.
I think that's the thing, right, Tyler? The numbers aren't lying. The numbers aren't lying. I've seen these reports all across. I believe them. Yeah, PS4s or PS5 is outselling PS4's pace, but who are getting them? Which consumers? Is it falling under the consumer's hands, or is it under another middleman's hand?
A ratio like games sold or something like that, but I would say that 10 million go into the hands of people and 3 million are sitting in warehouses or something?
Numbers don't even support that. The numbers say 10% at most, so 1.3.
There you go. Damn you people in your
Which admittedly, it's hard to do. But the other side you got to remember is like those scalpers want to move them.
Of course.
Scalpers aren't sitting on, and I'm not defending scalpers here. I'm just trying to say scalpers aren't sitting on hundreds of those and not lowering the prices.
No, it's like produce. It goes rotten. Like,
if they're sitting on it, like that's money that they've outlaid that's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I get it. Man. It's an interesting spot though. I don't know.
Like, it's like the dark side of the video game industry, right? Like, what's really going on behind closed doors? What's really happening? And like, I would just love to do like an in-depth look, in-depth series with angry former employees and whatnot, and just like, you know, just bring out the bring out the tea, as the kids say. Spill the tea.
The one thing that I find most interesting is we've talked about it on the show, where Xbox Series S is obviously the big seller because you can buy it for this holiday season. But I get a little bit charge out of the Series S being sold like that because it just means the console is going to stick around a little bit longer than maybe they could have put it to pasture. So, but it's not as powerful as an X.
Here's the thing, Phil.
Right?
But for me,
it's a weird spot that they're in.
At the end of the day,
collectively,
go ahead.
Collectively, they've only sold about 8 million for the X and the S.
Whoa. Holy crap.
There you go.
Interesting.
See, but also this goes back to what I was saying. Like, you know, clearly this is now for some VP or some director who wants to become VP at Microsoft now has some ammo to say, look, if we can't sell to consumers, why are we putting all of our efforts on hardware? Why don't we just sell them a literal Xbox that connects to the internet and they can play on our servers?
Yeah, here it is.
I mean,
USB stick.
Don't know how many Game Pass across all things they've sold, like new subscribers this year.
Go ahead.
20 million.
Whoa.
Right? Like they don't like that's already what the argument is. They don't have to say anything.
Right there. You see, guys?
Look at these numbers.
Software always beats hardware for this very reason.
Well, I mean, I think that you're going to see it. Like, I don't want it to win, but you're right. Like, it has a lot of advantages here.
I am adamant that I do not want this direction in video games. I am adamant that this is only going to lead to more Pandora's box, more behind closed doors, more black boxes that we as consumers don't understand. This is the direction that we're going to be heading in. I don't want that, but software is a shit ton easier and a shit ton cheaper to produce than hardware, especially when you're facing supply shortages. Especially when, you know, when consumers can't get their hands on your product. It's a lot easier to distribute software only.
The marketplace is leaning it there, but the interesting part for me is going from working in a computer store in the 90s where software had to fit on a disc or on several discs, and watching how data and code has become such that you could just sit, like, once CD-ROMs came along, then it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just hilarious to me because it's like, can you imagine being a kid and getting Game Pass? Let's say you take out the whole cloud gaming beta part of it. So you get Game Pass. So every game on here you can play, Billy. I want to play that one. Okay, come back in 3 hours when it downloads. Like, it's the size of games is amazing to me. The size of software is just amazing to me now. It's
of
so
course, but the reality is like as streaming becomes more readily available, and again, we're talking about about ideal variables right now, right? It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference to a lot of consumers.
No, it's interesting though.
Yeah,
TVs having Stadia and Xbox, they're exploring that, preloading Xbox Game Pass into televisions. Things like that. It's happening.
I know it's happening, but this is just like,
I just want a dumb TV again.
I know, right?
Consoles, man. I just want a console. Put my fucking game in said console. Fucking turn on the system and fucking play the game. That's all Boris wants to do.
What the hell came out the other week about Halo Infinite? Remember the problem I was telling you with the preloads?
Yeah.
Effectively, Microsoft made coasters for everybody because the game that shipped on the disc was only the multiplayer 17 gig install. So no matter what you had, no matter what you went to your store and waited till the middle of the night or whatever the scenario is to get that game so you could come home and load it up and play it, it wouldn't do anything unless you got 45 gigabyte download off the internet.
For a second, I thought Tyler was like gonna just curl up in a ball and fall asleep.
No, I'm in the basement and I had to rebuild the fire, so I was like taking off the blankets because I'm finally warm enough.
Yeah, that's funny. The video game industry, guys, I don't know. I really do want to take a step back and do that look at some point. But number one, where do we start? Number two, I'm afraid of what I'm going to find out.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest issues is what it's always been, which is no one wants to talk.
Of course.
Not because they don't want to talk, but because they need jobs.
Yeah.
Right? It is so hard to get someone to talk.
You don't name names.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no. I'm just mean like for the whistleblowers, like they like there are none because they don't want to name names.
Yeah. Oh, I misunderstood you.
I'm not saying we as the reporters, as you know, we won't name the sources, of course not. But like at the end of the day, there are like what you're saying is there are no sources.
There are a few sources, and in part because like let's say they cover their butt and they don't name names. It's still not a huge industry, and it's not too hard to like reconstruct things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're 100%
that's
right.
a lot of the stuff about the sexual harassment, right? That's what kept a lot of women from coming forward over the years, because if they said something, they were going to get, that was it. They're going to get blackballed for life.
And meanwhile, Louis C.K. gets to have another comedy special.
Yeah, exactly. Unreal.
Well, that's the fucking world we live in, guys. All right, I think we kind of went a little long there, but again, it was a good conversation. I love it when we talk about this sort of stuff. Phil, how was your week?
Oh man, we're 46 in, just doing our week.
Better,
better than last time.
I'm not gonna say it.
No, the week was okay. I'm quietly getting excited for Book of Boba Fett. I'm plodding my way through Blade Runner, and I watched a bunch of movies that you guys gifted me. So, yeah, you know what? Overall, pretty quiet, and work was just nuts.
Right?
Whatever. I don't know what is going on, but December, busy time.
No, you know what it honestly is. Corporate America, and I said this last week, I'm gonna say it again. Corporate America is using its couple months window of trying to make profit before the next lockdown, before the next major wave, and the pressure was on everyone, and that was exactly what was happening, because I can see now, the writing's on the wall. Look at New York City, look at Quebec, look at Ontario, look at major populations. We're all heading back into lockdown, babe.
Yeah, the wave is coming, but yeah, you know what? Aside from the stuff we're going to talk about too, and Hawkeye, and you lucky buggers were good enough to get out to a movie theater. Too dank and moist for me.
Yeah, it was fine. It was good. Tyler, what's going on in the life of Tyler?
Tried Blade Runner on Phil's recommendation, and I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting into it, but I think I was just in a weird space the day I tried it, so I'm going to give it another try. Hawkeye's phenomenal. Saw Spider-Man. Canceled so much stuff over the last week, and I have a fun little bit of news about comic book roundup. Is that what they are? CBR? What do they officially stand for? Comic book resources. So owned by Valnet Inc. out of Quebec, who owns other companies including Screen Rant, Bleeding Cool. No.
Ugh. You actually said their name.
No, what does Valnet own? Oh, no. We're about to report some So they own Screen Rant, Collider, Comic Book Roundup, Android Police, Muo, The Gamer, Game Rant, and a bunch of others. They're yet another one of these conglomerates that owns a bunch of publishing arms.
Yeah.
So I had a job interview with them.
Yeah, you mentioned last week you had a job interview coming.
Yeah, I had 2 job interviews this week.
All right.
And both of them lasted me asking the interviewer one question and being like, "Oh, so we're done here."
Oh wow.
So, for me, I am a writer. I have an established list of things.
Yep.
I've written for Salon.
Mm-hmm.
I have written for like international NGOs. I've written for the UN.
Yep.
What do you like? What would your opening offer be, Boris?
It should be
For
not stupid.
a full-time job. This was advertised as a full-time job.
Full-time job. What was it for? What was it doing? Writing? Staff writer?
As a writer. It was a writer. It was a writer for CBR.
It should at least be. And I'm even going to lowball this. 50 to 60K.
Oh God, you are so way too high.
I know. Oh,
Their offer was
20.
Remember, this is for advertised as a full-time job.
If you even say 20 something, I swear to God.
Oh, Boris.
Oh no. Oh no.
$20 an article. Plus traffic bonuses.
Oh
What?
my God.
Well, that explains the quality of their headlines.
Yeah, right? You're like, oh, I understand a lot now. I understand a lot of your business model. So for our audience who might not know, that is so big companies like to market. Like, you get a traffic bonus because then it's all up to how good your article is or not. And that's not your job. Why should the writer bear the risk?
Oh
The
my
way
God.
that magazines and stuff has been done is the writer doesn't get to choose what they write.
Exactly.
The editor does.
Exactly.
So, like, you know, if it'd be a little bit different if I were sitting there and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write a series of long, winding pieces on the philosophy of Witcher 3 and whatever, and you know, and the editor was gonna polish it up and just throw it out there. Yeah, it'd be a different story. But no, it's the editor assigns you what to write, so they are making the decision, but then you bear the risk.
Yeah.
And that's not how anything is supposed to work.
Well,
And
and here's the
it's-
amazing part. Like I've obviously learned to read some articles now. Sometimes I'll throw things out there because I know they're from sources that you guys respect.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay. But when I get into these things, when they slip into my Google News feed and I see, oh crap, my eyes roll whenever it's CBR or something like that. Not to single them out, but there's a few where I'm just like, oh, come on. Like, I look at it and it's usually a clickbaity type title that I'm thinking, I just want a quick payoff and get the hell out of here before all my cookies go to hell or whatever, right?
Exactly.
And it's written in such a way that you have to scroll through pages, like what feels like would be pages in the old HTML to get to that paragraph that gives you the payout of information.
Yep.
And this is the garbage that these guys promote in order to just say, hey, he saw 6 advertisements because we hit it down there.
Yep.
And he had to read all about Matrix 1, 2, and 3 and production problems and all this and all that just to know that Matrix 4 comes out December 22nd. Like, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And it's all part of this weird set of algorithms. People have decided this is going to be better for business. And it's just
Yeah,
anyone
it's better for business, not content creators.
But it's not better for business, right? Like, it's better for business in the short run. But you're seeing what happens now every time this happens, of you end up in this race to who can be the most disgusting. And that's why more and more people get ad blockers, which then makes your job even harder. Instead of just doing what good content creators have done since time immemorial, which is like, I'm going to make a good thing, and if y'all don't find a way to pay me for it, it's not going to get made anymore.
Well, you know what it ends up doing, like for me personally, is I block everything. I used to be the biggest Collider fan. I have that entire news outlet blocked because
And
it
that's
was
what
just
happens.
garbage. You know, and I'm just like, forget it. I want this gone. CBR gone. This guy
Yeah.
gone. Like, go to settings, block
Now
it all.
you're seeing why. Now you're seeing. This is why we have friends in the sports realm who are making their own way through personal blogs with a paywall.
Yeah.
This is why
Like
The Athletic, John Molinaro is exactly who I was thinking of. This is why something like The Athletic survives and lives. And I love The Athletic. Oh, you get some amazing articles on The Athletic. Beautiful, well-written articles. Oh, I love reading The Athletic. You know why? Because it avoids this bullshit. It avoids all this bullshit. You have to pay for it, but it's good. And we're not talking a paywall like, you know, like the Toronto Star and stuff like that, right? Like, we're talking about like legit reporters doing legit reporting.
Yeah. They're conglomerating and making a product, right? Like that's the thing. It follows the whole Patreon model, right? Like
Exactly.
where I go and I pay a guy $8 a month. I buy him half a pack of smokes because he gives me the tunes for my car every week.
Just those
So
wieners
each
and
month I
titties.
give him $8. Done. Like I'll pay for quality content that's on point. But the minute he starts to waver or whatever, I don't identify with the writing, I can make a choice, and that tells the content creator, hey, this is a change that the customers don't really like, or it's a new path that I'm going to get more eyes for now.
Yep.
Maybe I'm losing stale eyes. Who knows?
And let me tell you, Mr. Molinaro is doing pretty well for himself right now.
Good. I was thinking about John. I was going to text him and see how he's doing.
He's doing good. He's good. But yeah, you know, this is another industry where we're seeing writers and actual creators being taken advantage of, right?
Yep.
Well,
So-
I mean, trying to. I mean, if you're
yeah. Okay, but
if
Tyler,
you're
but here's
ever
the thing.
creative,
You're for lack of a better term, a little more established.
no, I'm mid-career.
Okay,
I
so-
get that. We're gonna say of like they're like, don't let people take advantage of you because it's never worth it.
If you're
Yeah.
new,
Like any job I did for free,
Tyler. Okay, Boris is new. Boris is 10 years younger than he is right now, and he wants to get into writing and creating content in your realm. I go to you and say, hey Tyler, Mr. Old Man, how do I get started? What is the one piece of advice that you would give someone?
I mean, I'd first ask a couple questions because I work in like 3 industries that are very disparate and be like, which one are you interested in? Because I'd start with one. Because the best thing to do is start with one thing. And the second best thing is for writers, learn how to pitch. Those are the 2 most important things.
Mhm.
If you like you can pitch to any news outlet. And if you have a good enough idea and good enough stuff, like they don't super care if you don't have great like previous credentials. If your idea is good enough, it helps, and you will establish yourself over time. But that's like you early on they don't owe you anything, and then the last bit is just get used to rejection. Like if you're not getting rejected like 200-300 times a year, if people are going like yeah no thanks, you're not doing it.
Yeah. You see, I just like, and I'm the bad example just because I stumbled into writing. I kind of fell into it based off of my podcasts and brand names in other ways, right? So I'm the bad example of that. But yeah, it's just man, this world is so fucked.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. 10 years ago, Boris, go to the soccer show.
Oh, lordy lord.
That'll
Lord.
never get the light
One of the
day.
best weekends.
But yes, I
ever.
can only imagine all those points stand, Tyler. You're right. Like I was thinking rejection that would be the toughest thing I think for a lot of people to deal with is and maybe it becomes easier once it happens to you enough. I don't know.
It is a skill you develop of just you just get to a certain point where your brain goes, it's not about me.
Yeah.
And that's the trick. And you're still gonna have bad days, and you're gonna have some idea that you were in love with.
Yeah.
And it still gets rejected, and it still stings. And you cut out early that day. Or whatever.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just like, God, I freaking loved. I thought that my piece on, like a piece I had on how stoicism is bad, actually, and the fact that like tech bros love stoicism because they just use it to do whatever they want.
Exactly.
And like, and I pitched that, and the person was like, "Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't see an article there." And I'm like, "No."
You know what the other issue is there is that it's the tech bros who would read that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, look, tech bros love to think they're doing better than other tech bros. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, you're right.
Tim Ferriss got the way he did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. All right, guys. One minor tidbit, and I should have brought this up as we were talking about video games. And this just goes to, and I hate jumping back and forth like this, but this just goes to show you how big this industry is. The Game Awards set a new viewership record with 85 million total streams.
Jeez.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Goes to show you.
Is that bigger than the Super Bowl?
I gotta call it out though. After watching it, becoming completely disengaged with it, it just felt like a giant commercial.
That's what I kept telling you.
Everyone said this year.
Yeah. Come on.
It was annoying me. It was like the pacing, everything. I'm like, I'm on overload. Gotta walk away. No, not happening. Like,
it's catching up. It's catching up with the Super Bowl though.
Yeah,
it's catching up.
It is.
It's
amazing. It is. It's a lot closer than you think.
I found it was very, very schizophrenic. Oh my god!
Now,
was I ever going out of my head?
All right. Spider-Man: No Way Home. $587 million in the first weekend worldwide. It made $253 million domestically. That's the third biggest first weekend in history of film for North America, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Avengers Endgame is still the all-time domestic record holder with $357 million, followed by Avengers Infinity War at $257.6 million. That makes, if my math is correct, Spider-Man No Way Home third place with $253 million.
Yep. Not bad during a pandemic.
Well, Phil,
you know,
just hold on, Phil, hold on.
I get it.
Let's be honest here. Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a pandemic, worldwide pandemic still going on. But the way that the USA treats it is very different from the way that we are.
No, I agree. But we have box office open. Like, it's a good sign during, or if you want to consider it post-pandemic, it's a good sign for the industry. People went to see a movie.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It went back to the old times in terms of a lot of money was.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it makes.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine that there's a lot of Disney executives going, we need to rethink this Disney Plus strategy and get more stuff in the theaters now. Like,
nah.
There's money in them. They're hills.
No. They know what's up. They know that the theater industry, the cinemas, are dangling on one ball hair away from falling away.
One ball hair. Jeez.
You know I had to. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's tough, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that ball hair is tough.
Good for them. They had a good weekend with it, and I expect that they're going to have some more. Like,
at least in the States.
Well, we're reducing, but we're not dead yet. I would imagine things are going to get creative. Well, Quebec is, yeah. But I would imagine things are going to get more creative. I don't know what's going to happen, but if I knew, I guess I'd be a rich man. But
yep, exactly.
I'm hoping for it. I'm pulling for everybody to be able to go watch your movies in the theater and eat your popcorn and not.
You know what movie, at least here in Canada, will be interesting to see how it does, just because it doesn't have the upside of having the simultaneous release. That is The Matrix.
That's gonna hurt.
Yepers. I don't know why I said
they
that.
actually, here in Nova Scotia, I had a ticket. And they were like, no, that ticket isn't valid anymore.
You're not valid anymore.
What?
No, like they literally said, on Thursday. Thursday was the last day for movies in Nova Scotia, and they are reevaluating what the procedures are, and all movies are canceled until further notice.
Hold on. So you guys, the cinemas are closed?
Temporarily, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, here they're reduced to 50% capacity, but the entire building, not each cinema. So cinemas can still be at capacity, but the building can only be at 50%. Yeah, I know. This is the issue.
That's how diseases work, right?
This is the issues. These are the issues, I should say.
Wow.
That's how it works.
And let's be honest.
So it's not even about public safety anymore.
No, it's not.
It's about manipulation.
This is the issue. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I've been just because your government is stupid as shit, makes stupid decisions, doesn't mean that this COVID is not real. You cannot equate your government stupidity to the validity, to the actual health of, or to how dangerous COVID still can be. Anyways.
Yeah. I'm upset over that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was talking with someone when I went to go watch Spider-Man, and that's what they were telling me. And even they're like, what the fuck? Like, we don't want to have theaters at capacity.
Literally.
We don't want.
Can you imagine the discussion?
Can you imagine then? Theater A being blamed for an outbreak? Yeah, because of the fucking rules. Why? Because we pre-sold that entire theater.
A minimum wage employee had to make a health and safety call for all X people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
That's ultimately who you're putting all of your trust in. Like your health and safety, your wellness is in the hands of the guy who's scooping up popcorn and scraping gum off the floor.
And used condoms.
Not to put those people down. It can't be an easy job. I don't envy them and whatnot, but has to be some responsibility. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's a generalization. It might be some theater. Like, honestly, I saw on the news today, they had a theater chain owner on that was from another province in Quebec, and he just kept on spouting conspiracies.
Yeah, I know.
And they were just like, get them off. They kept on trying to refocus him on, well, what's the impact going to be to your business? And he's like, well, the government knows they're going to shut down, blah, blah, blah. Like, and they're just like, dude, kill interview. Like, and I'm like, maybe he makes that decision. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go on to the spoiler part of the show?
Let's go to the spoiler zone.
Let's go to the spoiler zone. All right, so we're gonna be talking.
Let's go to the
spoiler zone.
I was waiting for that too. All right, spoilers. We are gonna be talking about. Can I talk?
Spoiler zone.
And we're sober right now. Tomorrow's gonna be a shit show.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to be talking Hawkeye episode 5, and then we're going to round out the episode talking all things Spider-Man, No Way Home, spoilers galore. So if you haven't seen either of these things, pause the episode, go and watch it, come back, finish to me
We'll do the Hawkeye first, which you probably have seen. Then we will put in another spoiler warning so you can go to your theater and bypass all health and safety and watch Spider-Man.
All right, Phil, write this down. 1 minute, 8 seconds. Just write that down. Just remember that.
Oh yeah, 1 hour, 8 seconds. Yeah.
All right, now.
1 hour, 8 minutes.
Ronin was the episode name. So we find out it's pretty much what happened to Black Widow's sister during the blip. She apparently went bye-bye for 5 years, came back. I really enjoyed that scene. This episode, I really like this episode. The dialogue was fucking amazing in this episode.
Phenomenal.
It was just so good. I I make fun of the humor in the MCU. Sometimes how the humor comes off, but I felt that it was just so genuine in this episode. And I honestly just really, really, really enjoyed it. Specifically, I'm talking about the conversation with Kate and what's her name?
The craft dinner conversation.
Yeah, the craft dinner conversation. Specifically.
Yeah. Apparently everyone, like, even the people who made it, like, were making that and they were like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's good. I don't have any complaints about Hawkeye right now. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it sewing up, but it's exactly what I was thinking it was going to be, and that makes me happy. And that is, it's a competent Disney Plus show.
Yep.
I'm glad it's not the train wreck that it could have been. I'm glad that it's not. It's just doing what it needs to do, and it's doing it well.
You know what's funny? Okay, so yeah, it was Yelena and Kate just had this back and forth conversation, and it was just so well written, so well done. You kind of see the charm that Yelena has, and you kind of see where Kate is you know, where she kind of draws a line at trusting people, but at the same time she's ultimately just a good person. So just the back and forth that they had was just fantastic. Now, we're gonna put a pause there. The reason why I wanted to put a pause there was because Phil, on Saturday, for Sunday night's main event, we were recording the best of worst of episodes for the radio show. But before we started recording, Jason Agnew and myself were talking about Spider-Man, kind of like spoiler free. And all of a sudden, we started talking about Hawkeye. And Jason said the exact same thing as you. How he hated episode 1. Kind of started coming around episode 2. But it was episode 3 where he got hooked.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, episode 1 wasn't like it was epically bad. It was just tonally wrong for me. And that was where I put my head. I wasn't ready for a Christmas show and for it to be that Christmassy. And I was worried that they were going to blow it into Kitschland. And the show got its feet. Like it really landed. So it's a shame it's only 6 episodes, to be honest. But at the same rate, I also appreciate direct storytelling. They're not farting around and wasting episodes. Like they're being economic with their time and storytelling. And that's a good thing. Good for them. Like exactly. You say, the craft dinner thing was great. Like it actually made an otherwise forgettable movie in Black Widow make more sense. Yeah. Have more relevance.
Right. And on the flip side, we had Maya Lopez really wanting to get her revenge on Ronan. With her uncle being killed by Ronan. Now, everyone is telling her essentially that this is not a good idea. So they come up with a plan. Clint dons the Ronin suit, and essentially he and Lopez get into a huge fight. Clint/Ronin end up winning this fight, and he basically says, look, leave me and my family alone, and, we're all fucking good. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Kate and Yelena are trying to figure out exactly who is in charge, what is going on, where everyone is connected, because we find out that Yelena was hired by somebody. Dun dun dun. And by the end of the episode, it comes out that it was actually Kate's mom.
Mephisto.
Yeah, it was Mephisto the entire time. It was Kate's mom. If they tracked the money to her, and she was actually working with the big guy himself, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, aka they brought him back, Vincent D'Onofrio,
aka the big fat guy from the Spider-Man video game.
Yep. So that there we are. Yep.
I do know Kingpin from comic books too.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
like you geeks.
It was nice, and then we did get the statement from Feige that apparently the MCU Netflix shows are going to be in canon.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Yep.
Correct.
It was over the weekend.
It was the weekend.
I think.
It was the weekend after No Way Home. They
I was not.
waited.
I was not because now we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was this past weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah, he said it, and I know that there was some disagreement with Netflix on who was going to own what, and honestly, it was probably going to be what Netflix was going to get paid out, which to an extent I understand. But several of the actors who've been involved with the past stuff, who ostensibly have not yet talked to Marvel, have come out and said, like, I would do that again. I would do my character again.
Yeah.
So
I like money.
I think it's like both that, but also I think
And it was fun playing the character and being
oddly enough
being part of this. It would be part of the MCU now. Like it's a good place.
Oddly enough, they're struggling with characters from Iron Fist to sign on to MCU.
Well, what's her name just said she would?
Yeah, except for I forget her name.
I mean, the only character they need. She ended with the Iron Fist.
Yeah, exactly. Now, anything we want to talk about with Hawkeye? Like
Jessica Henwick.
Yes, that's it. What do we want to do? We want to jump to Spider-Man now? Do we want to continue with Hawkeye? I don't see anything else. The season finale is coming up in a couple days.
Hawkeye I found to be really apparently the season finale is the longest season finale show of a Marvel show.
Yeah.
So I guess they're actually going to just let it do its run. However long they need to tell the story is however long they're going to get for this episode. So I didn't look at the specific time because it was buried in one of those shit articles we were talking about.
And I didn't even watch the trailer that they released. Like, I'm just going to go in as cold can be and enjoy the show for what it is. Or enjoy the episode for what it is. Because,
All right, that's our 8-minute talk on Hawkeye, which leads us to 116. And I'm going to say it, we're going to have Spider-Man spoilers. I have not seen the movie, and I have agreed to letting these two spoil it because I will not be going to said dank and moist theater.
Now, Tyler wanted to so eloquently summarize this movie for people. So, Tyler, I'm going to pass the baton to you.
So the spoilers are starting right up front with this one. Because this was several members of my family got me on FaceTime afterwards. And they're not going anytime soon. And they were like, we don't care about spoilers. Just like, should we see this movie or not? Don't give us a beat by beat. But I literally said, you know what? Look, it is the third Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. And it's also the third Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie. And it's also the fourth Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. And they were like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a very good season finale. And I would argue, like, if we're just talking about movies as an art form, it's not a great movie. Phenomenal season finale. Not a great movie.
Yeah. I think that is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I do have one mild critique of the movie.
Please go
ahead.
But
as we're going to put that way at the end, because it has to do with the end of the plot. And it's literally, my critique is the last two scenes of the movie.
Okay. I think I know where you're going with this, but we'll have a good conversation about this.
We'll get there.
All right, so, the basic premise is exactly what you thought it was. Peter Parker wants, his secret is out. Mysterio got him. What?
I mean, basically, if you saw the trailer, that's what, the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's so funny, honestly.
Like, it's just almost legit. Just all the trailers are the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much, honestly. The secret's out. His life is in shambles. Ned and MJ, his life is also in shambles because they were also outed as being co-conspirators with Peter Parker, for Peter Parker. Everything's going to shit. They go into hiding, and he hires a pretty good lawyer. Tyler, who is this lawyer?
It is Daredevil.
Yep.
They play it a little smooth. Like, not really, but a little smooth.
A little. Yeah, they don't flat out.
He has a cameo.
Yeah.
It's also, and this part was an interesting choice of just, They hire him, and you never see the inside of a courtroom. It's solved. The problem is solved. There are no more legal troubles.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, it was a good movie, but at the same time, it wasn't, because it's like they cop out a lot. They jump time a lot in this movie. Basically, this movie lasts 10 months, and it's like within the first 20 minutes, they literally jump the 10 months. So yeah, Daredevil makes his appearance. You know, they do have a joke about him being more than just a lawyer. Ha ha ha. And then, you know, because MJ, Ned, and Peter are seniors, it is now time for them to, you know, apply to universities. And because of all the controversy that they've created, because a lot of people are in the MCU are siding with Mysterio, they think that Spider-Man is a menace, that he did destroy the bridge in London, that Mysterio was actually the hero. You know, their lives were basically in shambles. No university wanted to take them. So Peter Parker kind of took it upon himself to, you know, help his compadres. So he goes to Doctor Strange, and it's exactly like what we said earlier, where if you saw the trailer, that's exactly what happens. It is a spell to forget who Spider-Man is. And as they're telling this spell, Peter is being Peter Parker, being the annoying little brat, and stopping Doctor Strange from continuing. And this is when shit starts getting bad, because, you know, they're adding variables to the spell. Long story short, the spell is fucked. This opens up the multiverse. This now allows for other people who know Peter Parker as Spider-Man to come into this world. They're all being attracted into this world because that's where the spell was told. That's, you know, the center of the multiverse right now. So, after some deliberation back and forth, Peter essentially wants to talk to the MIT rep. And as he's going to do so, this is when we get the infamous Doc Ock introduction. You know, there's a fight. Doc Ock rips off the mask, and he realizes that this isn't the Peter Parker that he knows. He's like, what the hell is going on? As all of this is happening, Peter Parker outsmarts Doc Ock, enter Green Goblin, and essentially right as Green Goblin shows up, Doctor Strange steps in. This leads us into kind of like the second act, which was kind of like a round 'em up. Peter needed to just get at all of the, they find out exactly what's going on, that, you know, that people from other multiverses are coming into their multiverse, and they need to round them up and send them back home. Through discovery, they find out that essentially anyone who was killed by Spider-Man is showing up because they know his identity. Now, this is when the movie kind of becomes a little strange, Tyler. Like, not strange, but, you know, it's kind of like, it's I don't know how to describe it. How would you describe it? So I really like
this. So it takes a twist of, you think that it's going to be, okay, Peter goes, you start to get all of them up, they start to talk to each other, and you see it being like, aw, shit, they're talking, the villains are starting to get along, oh, we're going to get Sinister Six. And then Peter's like, no, I, in fact, reject this premise. I, in fact, reject the premise of what you think this movie is. I reject toxic masculinity. I'm going to beat up Doctor Strange and steal his stuff and lock him in the mirror dimension.
Yeah, because he eventually...
And then we're
Go ahead, sorry.
And then we're going to go cure all the people. We're going to go make it so, like, they don't have to die.
Yeah, he wants to redeem everyone, essentially, right? Because he doesn't want these people to go home and die, because he knows that's their ultimate fate. If they go home, they're all going to die. Peter doesn't want this because Aunt May convinces him that he has to be the bigger person, the better person. Sometimes it's making the hard decisions.
I think about that. Like, it is a repudiation of the previous generation of Marvel movies in a good way, right? Like, I think that you have to have your meta narrative evolve.
Yeah.
And as we saw with Black Panther, especially, it's this rejection of the old-fashioned, oh, I'm going to punch you until it gets better.
Yeah.
Of like, he's trying to talk it out. And he's like, no, I don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
And like, especially because we got to remember, like, he doesn't, like, these people have done nothing wrong to him other than like Green Goblin. But even Green Goblin then comes and apologizes.
Exactly. So
Right.
long story short, all the villains end up together with Peter. Doctor Strange is in the mirror world. They're trying to get each other cured while all of this is going down. This is when shit hits the fan. And Green Goblin comes out of Norman, and everything goes to hell.
Sets everything loose.
To say the least. Having said that, Doc Ock was cured.
Yes,
and that's a very important thing to note. And the J. Jonah Jameson is trying to get the scoop.
Which, a quick aside, J. Jonah Jameson, who is so obviously based on Alex Jones here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his set is the same.
Yes.
His font is the same. Like, his logo's the same. They're like, oh my god, they're just doing Alex Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, and he yells more than normal. Like it's Alex Jones. Anyways, so he wants a scoop. He wants Spider-Man to pay. And as all of this is happening, he finds out where he's hiding with the villains. And of course, as everyone shows up and the cops show up, there's a huge brawl that's happening. And I gotta say, this fight scene was well done. It was very realistic. It was unlike any other fight scene that I think we've seen from the two previous MCU iterations of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, especially doubly so because been rewatching all the Marvel movies. The fight scenes, really all of the fight scenes pre-Avengers are not great.
No, yeah, agreed.
And then Thor 2 is garbage.
Yeah.
The fight scenes are some of the worst I've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we finally got to Guardians, and it's like, oh my god, right, fight scenes again. That
exactly.
actually are, like, interesting to watch.
And even then, Guardians had a huge cop-out at the end. But,
no, that was amazing. Back to my reject toxic masculinity.
All right. Point is...
Dance off.
Yeah, which I loved, personally. It's just like, it is what it is.
Phenomenal.
Now, back to Spider-Man. So, huge fight erupts. Shit hits the fan. The cops are there. Aunt May gets injured. Her and Peter kind of have this long discussion about how he ultimately didn't fuck up and he's doing the right things. She gives the line, with great power. The line. With great power comes great responsibility. But she's a lot more
Peter
injured.
has broken ribs.
Yeah, Peter has broken ribs, and we find out that Aunt May is actually a lot more injured than than originally thought. And she dies in Peter's arms as... Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just kill Aunt May.
They just fucking off her.
Wow.
After she is broken up with Happy. So Happy's fucking ruined as well.
Oh, I was gonna
Happy
say
gets
poor
arrested. Happy goes to jail because you find out he's robbed the Stark Industries.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, stuff gets real really fast.
Yeah. Like when they said that this movie is all about choices, holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, so Aunt May is dead. The villains are winning at this point. Peter,
except for Sandman, who really just wants to go home.
He wants nothing to do with anything. He's like, fuck this.
It's phenomenal how much he's like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like earlier on, Peter's like, I'm going to cure you. He's like, I don't care. Just send us home.
Yeah.
So it's the same actor playing Sandman?
Yeah, they have him doing voice, but
his CGI up until the very end.
Okay.
Yeah, he's CGI up until the very end, and they reuse chunks of previous movies for him.
Yeah.
They just update the CGI, and I don't have a problem with it. A lot of people are freaking out online, but I think he couldn't. Like, I think he was only available for like a day of shooting.
Yeah.
Right.
And then voiced over, and then similar with like the Lizard of like he's in lizard form most of the movie. Who you can get anyone to do that.
Yeah. All right. So Peter Earth 6. Is this Earth 616? I guess it is now, right? Like, it is safe to say it is. Tyler's checking this up. I'm just going to keep.
It is 616.
All right, so Earth 616, Peter. Our Peter.
Or Prime.
Earth Prime, Tom Holland. He goes off and he's, his aunt just passed away in his arms. He blames himself. He blames Green Goblin. What's interesting to note, and I feel like they made it a point for a reason, Tyler, and I wanted to bring this up, is one thing that Norman Osborn makes very obvious is that he went to the offices of Oscorp and he's like, they don't exist here.
Yep.
So in this world, in this MCU world, Oscorp does not exist.
Yes.
Right.
Or didn't at that time.
That's exactly where I'm going with that. Now, anyways, Peter Parker, Prime Peter Parker goes away. Ned and MJ, they have this cube, the cube that can end everything. If they press the button, it sends everyone home, but they all end up dying. They're looking for Peter. Ned ended up with Doctor. Yep, exactly. So now he can do some magic. And I also
Ned just starts doing magic.
Yeah.
Ned learns how to do magic faster than Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly, which is hilarious, right? And I love when Doctor Strange brings it up later. He's like, interesting. So I feel like there's a little more. He does have a line
earlier on that his family has always been magic.
Yeah, where his grandma says his family.
My grandma says we've always been magic.
Yeah. All right, so he starts saying, okay, we can find Peter. Because he found out how it all works and the teleportation works, and he's like, let me find Peter Parker. Well, they find Peter Parker, but it's not our Peter Parker. It's the Amazing Spider-Man Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield. So he comes in. They do it again. Go ahead.
He's got maximum angst.
Yeah. Jesus.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you saying the Garfield guy lied?
Yeah. Big time.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like his arc apparently went fucking dark.
Yeah, he had So let's finish the bit of then Ned does another one and they get Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
And Tobey Maguire is like they don't make him look younger. Tobey Maguire has lived some years.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire's been eating the hamburgers.
Yeah.
No, like he's in shape.
Oh, okay.
He's in shape,
he's beat up
like
and old.
Tobey Maguire is what? He's got to be in his mid to late 40s now, hasn't he?
At least.
I just thought it would have been funny to be like, that Spider-Verse movie and everything.
Well,
it kind of was.
His back does get thrown out later.
Yeah, they kind of do touch on some of the jokes from Spider-Verse. So, so the two Spider-Man are there. MJ and Ned are trying to figure out where their Spider-Man, where their Peter Parker is. They basically say, hey, is there's, the other two Spider-Men say, is there, a place that he likes to be alone and to think? They end up going there. And then we get, everyone comes back together. And then the conversation, as they're having some conversation, we kind of find out what's been going on in their lives since their last movie. It sounds like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is just living life, kicking ass, naming and taking names with MJ, Mary Jane Watson, that is. But Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Tyler, fucking emo Spider-Man. Because remember, the last time we saw him, he literally...
He was supposed to get a third movie and didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So his arc never ended.
Yeah, but they kind of fill in some blanks. So after Gwen Stacy dies... He basically said that he went fucking dark. He went out there basically Batmaning
Stop
everyone.
Pulling his punches is what he says.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say it, but they imply Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man went and killed some people.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's dark. And Tobey Maguire says like he had a hard time too, and he had to get through it. And
which makes you wonder what happened, right?
Well, I mean, he went through a lot of stuff as well, right? Like
his best
him and MJ.
Dying,
he had so many people die in his life.
Yeah.
Like his mentor, his other mentor, his uncle, his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got hit.
Yeah. So
Aunt May by that point.
Yeah.
Because his Aunt May was ancient.
Yeah, she going.
Yeah. Yep. So
But yeah, they go find Tom Holland and the Spider-Man together.
Yep, they Spider-Man together. They say, okay, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to send everyone home. We're not going to kill everyone. We're going to cure everyone first. So they all work together. Hilarity ensues again because they're finding out, or this is when they find out, they have the bit and they make fun of Tobey Maguire having the organic web slingers, which is absolutely hilarious. There's a lot of jokes. There's a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah.
The whole
they made fun
Ned
of Andrew
thing.
Garfield being the loser one.
Yeah.
And Tobey Maguire going, no, you're amazing. What's this negative self-talk? You are amazing. I want you to say it. I want you to say I'm amazing.
There's some really fucking hilarious lines. Anyways,
God.
So this is where this movie actually ties in with Hawkeye episode 5. In Hawkeye episode 5, did you guys notice that they were talking about the unveiling of the new Statue of Liberty?
I did.
Yeah.
I actually was spoiled. Someone, I don't know where I saw it, but I was spoiled on. I somehow saw an image of the Statue of Liberty early.
Right.
I don't even know where now. Like, I didn't even save it. I was just like, oh, I can't tell anyone because I don't want to spoil it.
So they make mention of the unveiling of the new Statue of Liberty in Hawkeye. Well, guess what? The Statue of Liberty is just, it's right now, it's being ready to be covered up once more before its unveiling. So they all end up in this. Yep, they're all in the Statue of Liberty. They lure all the villains. Obviously, everyone is getting cured, but Earth Prime, Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Spider-Man obviously wants his revenge. I'm leaving a few stuff out because I do want to, people to go out and watch it and still be surprised. There's the final showdown between our Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, and it gets pretty intense at times, I guess.
Yep.
Really intense, I should say.
Did not go where I expected it to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Really happy they went there. Did not go where I expected it to go.
Yeah, basically, Tom Holland is going apeshit. He is not pulling his punches. Also, Tobey Maguire ends up getting stabbed by so Tom Holland picks up the glider.
Let's just go with he gets stabbed.
Yeah, he gets stabbed.
No, you said you wanted. If there's something to not reveal, it's that.
Exactly. So Tobey gets stabbed. Doctor Strange is back.
The device to send everyone home gets blown up.
Yep.
The universe starts collapsing. And the only way to do it is to make everyone forget Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
So that's exactly what happens. So everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But he promises to to find MJ and Ned and let them know.
Yep.
And to bring them back up to speed. And we have been establishing all movie the importance of him working with these two.
Yep.
And they get so much character development that we didn't talk about, but they are doing so much in this movie. And MJ has good ideas and is in fight scenes actually making a difference.
She is so badass in this movie. It's amazing.
And Ned's doing shit, and it's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah. As we said, everyone forgets who Peter Parker even is. They forget he even exists.
Yeah, no, it's people. Yeah, people forget about Peter Parker. People still remember Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has still done a bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
So Spider-Man has still fought the Infinity War. Spider-Man was still at the Civil War in Berlin, but no one knew it was Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So we see scenes like Happy Hogan talking to Peter, being like, "Oh, how'd you know this lady? Oh, through Spider-Man. That's how I knew her too."
Yeah. So the final scene. Go ahead. You can take this over, Tyler, because you had.
And then he goes. Tom Holland goes to the diner they've been at a few times now in the movie, where MJ works. They have MJ and Ned have now been accepted to MIT because without Spider-Man screwing their stuff up, of course they did. They're friends, which, one of the issues we're going to have to deal with is what does it mean to forget Peter Parker? Because why are they friends if not for Peter Parker?
Yeah.
But Peter Parker doesn't even have a high school degree anymore. He has no proof he's ever attended high school.
Oh, because everybody forgot him.
Yeah, so he's like studying for his GED. He gets a shithole apartment in New York, and he doesn't tell them. He refuses to tell them, and he decides to go do his own thing.
Now,
And
this is where, the biggest criticism of the MCU Spider-Man.
This is my criticism.
Yep, the biggest criticism of the MCU Spider-Man, as he was little Tony Stark, and he wasn't street level. He was, he was basically, everything. The lure of Spider-Man was gone because he was Tony's little buddy. He was the Robin to his Batman. And essentially, they've retconned that with the ending that they gave us because it's revealed that Spider-Man has created a new costume. He made it himself. And he's back to doing street level stuff without real technology. Outside of his web
He's lost
slingers.
all of his Tony Stark stuff. He's lost everything. He
And
literally
everyone.
he lives in a shithole and has like 2 boxes of stuff. So Mike, I don't have a problem with that actually.
I
What
like it
I'm
just
mad at-
because now. Okay, go ahead.
What I'm mad about is we spent the entire movie talking about the importance, and the entire movie is about the importance of not being a lone wolf douchebag.
Yeah.
Of being like, you need a team.
Yeah.
It's important. You need to let people in. You don't need to carry this weight all on your own. And MJ and him like learning to have a healthy relationship, and him learning to have a healthy relationship with Ned. And then he's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He rejects his own premise from earlier in the movie. So I do hope that I think it's not. I don't think it's officially confirmed yet, but it's I think all but confirmed. Tom Holland is doing at least 3 more Spider-Man
Yep.
movies.
Yeah, he signed on for 3. Yeah.
Yeah, plus however many other Marvel movies go in that contract.
Yep.
If they don't readdress that, I think they've made a mistake.
Agreed.
Yeah, well, maybe it's his phase right now. I don't know.
But now
I gotta say-
now it could open up a lot, right? Now this opens up the possibility of Mary Jane Watson. This opens up the possibility, of other stuff to happen in this universe, which we're going to get to in 1 second when we talk about the post-credit scene, the only one that really matters.
Well, one's just a trailer.
One's a trailer for Doctor Strange 2.
And I don't say that because they're always just a trailer, but this one is just like, it is literally cut as a trailer.
No, it's
Right.
similar to
It's
how-
not like a
anyways.
scene.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So yeah. So now they kind of retcon Spider-Man into this street level, which I can see being interesting, especially if you integrate the Netflix shows into the MCU,
Sure.
the Defenders and whatnot. Now, also, my criticism, Tyler, a couple weeks ago, Phil and I were talking about Hawkeye, and I'm like, and I'm pretty sure I repeated myself last week, and that was, while all of this is going on, where the fuck is Spider-Man? Well, now we kind of know. He was dealing with his own shit, / no one knows about him anymore. No one knows about Peter Parker, that is. So.
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues we are going to have to figure out as we get further in is some people would still know that Spider-Man exists,
Yeah.
right? Like Hawkeye would still have fought him,
Yeah. Agreed.
Mhm.
But
right? Like Bucky would distinctly remember, oh yeah, no, I fought this guy who was like, you have a metal arm? That's so weird, because we've established that's still canon.
yeah.
Why wouldn't they have his cell phone number?
Agreed. But at the core of it helps explain a lot, but there's still some explaining I need to do. I like the fact that they've gone street level, and there we go. Tom Holland's Spider-Man high school trilogy is over.
If I may, what I would have done to end it is have him go to the apartment, as we saw, do all of that. He's got the books for the GED, getting ready. Swap that scene with, have him put on the new suit, do the swing, and then go down and have him just swing down in front of the diner and look in, and then just leave it up in the air of whether he tells them or not.
Yeah.
That's a lot nicer to the next director.
Yeah. Agreed. Now, all right, let's jump into the post-credit scene. Post-credit scene is Eddie Brock, where we
Tom
pick
Hardy.
up Tom Hardy. We
Second MCU character.
Yep. We pick him up, or we pick up where we left him off during Venom 2. And he's talking to a bartender in the resort that he's at, and he's kind of putting everything together that's happening in this world. So he's learned about Thanos, he's learned about a bunch of heroes, he's learned about everything, like a lot of the MCU stuff. But obviously, this is happening at the same time that Doctor Strange is retelling the spell to send everyone back home. He leaves. The bartender's like, fuck, this guy just walked out on the bill. He picks up the tray goes away, and there's a little piece of symbiote left in the MCU.
Venom.
Yep. So there we go.
Okay.
That's how
Now,
we get
I've
Venom
listened
here.
to you two retell the story of this movie, okay? And I gotta say, it sounds horrible.
So again, here's the thing.
It sounds so confusing.
If you watch it as a movie,
Yeah.
it is a terrible movie. Like, Ashley and I were talking, and like, imagine if you walked in and you had seen some of the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, you had seen Iron Man, the Avengers movies, Black Panther, and the Spider-Mans. You'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
This is the issue.
Yeah,
this is what we've been talking about.
This is even more than MCU. This is about all of the previous versions of Spider-Man. Like, you're talking about 30 years of movies here.
Exactly.
20, but sure.
Like 20. Okay, well, whenever the first Tobey Maguire movie came
19
out,
years ago, to be exact.
19, there you go. So 20 years of movies. It's more than just, here's 23 other movies that have been produced since 2007. You're talking about, let's just go 20 years, and the stuff that we don't actually recognize is now relevant. Like, it's
to a certain
now
extent.
brought into this.
To a certain extent, yeah.
Like, what Sony did is now MCU. Like,
Ish. It's part of the multiverse.
Like, it's part of the fun. I get it. I get the intent. It just sounds messy. Like, when you guys listen, if you bother to listen to this episode, you're going to be like, oh crap. Like,
No,
this is what it sounds like when little kids are on the playground and they're like, and then Darth Vader said,
a little bit.
No, but that's how this movie
Right?
is,
Like,
Phil. That's honestly how this movie is.
No, I know. It just, it didn't do the
trust
movie
me.
justice.
Oh, trust me.
I mean,
I know.
I'm sure visually and your point stands. Yeah. It sounded like garbage though. It sounded like confusing hot garbage.
It can be. Like honestly, it can be.
And I know there's going to be all those little nuggets that you get the redemption out of
Exactly.
and whatnot. Like those moments, like the Daredevil moment and everything like that, where you're going to be like, oh, magnifique, right? The chef kiss.
What's funny?
It's just going to be like, oh my goodness, that was great. But
I've read a lot of articles that are complaining that Doc Octopus got the redeeming qualities and it wasn't Green Goblin. I'm like, that's honestly like saying in a Batman movie, you trying to redeem the Joker as a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would argue they did some redemption.
They did, to be honest, at least on Norman Osborn.
Well, yeah, right. Like that was always the shtick, is like what his situation was.
I've also heard the complaint that Doctor Strange is angry in this.
How dare he?
For no apparent reason. Like, the
There
complaint
is
they
what?
don't know
They
why,
do
or the
give a
reason they
why.
give in the movie. The reason they give in the movie.
They give a lot of reasons.
They give him many reasons to be angry. Number one, he is not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
like, no,
he's
if
someone
anyone's like,
underling.
why is he angry? It's like, I don't know, learn, like, and I say this as someone who's on the spectrum, learn to interpret human emotions.
Right. No, and he's always been a surly guy. Like,
Like 100%.
I was struggling with that complaint, to be honest. But again, it was an article.
Oh,
that was
I know.
written as an article to get you to read it, to be
For sure.
upset. You know what I mean? It's engineering. It's we'll put your eyeballs on this, and I just stop. I'm like, forget it.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I haven't watched it.
Tyler, any final thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home before we wrap this show up?
No, I mean, again, it's a great season finale.
I love it.
We have 11 MCU properties coming out next year.
I know. I know. Trust me. I know. It's going to be an insane year. But for that, we're going to have to wait for another day because I think it is time for us to go. We will be back later this week as we have our Christmas show, as we gift each other something to watch and we talk about it / yell at each other over gifting each other stuff. Phil, tell our listeners how they can get a hold of us, please.
Yeah, for sure. You can track us down on the internet at www.itscanonpodcast.com. You can look us up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those social media places at Its Canon Podcast. You can email us at show@itscanonpodcast.com. And you can subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere where you find podcasts, you're going to find the It's Canon Podcast. And we'd really appreciate you clicking that subscribe button and leaving a rate and review if the platform allows it. And be sure to tell your friends to listen into the shenanigans on the It's Canon Podcast.
Thanks, Phil. Like I mentioned, we're going to be back later this week for our Christmas special. It'll be posted on Christmas Eve in the evening, so be sure to subscribe so you get a notification on your mobile device when that comes out. And be sure to rate and review. It's the Its Canon Podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things geek, all things pop culture, where we talk about anything and everything, because as the show says, it's all in canon. He's Phil. He's Tyler. I'm Boris. Thank you for listening, and until next time, good night.